So I finally got around to watching 3 horror movies that I've been wanting to watch for so long, but it's just so hard to find time to actually do it. And yeah, this weekend I had time and I just binged all 3 of them. And honestly, I had a great time doing it. Now, not all of them are the best movie in the world, but it's just nice just to have some time to yourself, sit down, stick some horror movies on, and just enjoy. You know? For this video, what I'll do is I will put a thumbnail in each section, so you don't have to watch all of them if you don't want to. You can literally skip to the movie you want to hear my thoughts about. But yeah, let's talk about the movies. The first one I watched was Antlers, and it is a creature feature movie, and I love creature feature movies, absolutely love them. It has one of my biggest gripes for most creature feature movies, whereas it doesn't show the creature most of the time. In fact, throughout the majority of the movie, it is the kind of transition to becoming the creature, a bit like American Werewolf in London. However, of course, that's vastly superior. It's a classic. Whereas this one, you have to get through like 30 minutes of very depressing characters. You know, the lead protagonist in this was abused as a child. You know, the kid in this is obviously like mentally buggered because his dad's essentially becoming a Wendigo. Yeah, it's quite bleak and it's quite hard to get through because you don't really have anything that kind of pulls you in or interests you about these characters. It's just very, very sad and dull, and then like towards the end portion of it, it's kind of more actiony and kind of let's take down the Wendigo and stuff like that. I did like the design of the Wendigo, however, you didn't really get to see much of it. It was mainly shown in like the final act, and even then, it kind of had a little mini transition, so you don't get to quite see it fully. You literally get a little bit of it, and I'd say that's probably like maybe like 1 to 5 minutes at a push. But it was a decent movie. If you want a Wendigo movie, I'd probably suggest Pet Sematary. However, you don't actually get to see the Wendigo in that movie either. But the premise and kind of the presence of the Wendigo itself is much more prevalent. Whereas in this, it is literally just a beast killing people. That's it. There's not really much mythology kind of poured into it. They have a bit in the beginning where they're talking about mythology and stuff like that, but they talk about Goldilocks and 3 bears instead. And like this old guy comes and he has like this little thing, and that's like another 2-minute thing. So it's very generic for this kind of movie. Next up, we have M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Now, I really wanted to see this one in cinema, and unfortunately I couldn't because there were just so many things out at that time. But yeah, I finally got to see it, and wow, it is amazing. The premise is just spectacular. It is this family going to a retreat, and they're invited to go onto this special beach, which is kind of like a private beach that they get to go on. And what they come to realise quite quickly is it's aging them quite rapidly, and like if they would stay on this beach for like a day, they would be dead. And it's them trying to basically deal with all the other people on the beach because, of course, people are thinking people are getting murdered. There are very strange coincidences going on, like some of the kids are aging a lot faster than the adults, and like you have to deal with all that in one go, and it's just amazing. It really is like such an amazing premise. Why can't horror movies be this creative? You know, a lot of them just like, oh yeah, you know, we could just have like, you know, the standard thing, you know, this happens, tick box, and this one just it blows my mind because it's just full of creativity. Like, nobody dies in the same way. They are very proactive in what they're doing, like trying to figure out how to escape and stuff like that. You have so many different things going on with people having illnesses, mental breakdowns and stuff like that, and it's just so well wrapped together, and it's like seamless. Like, there was no point in the movie where I was going, you know what, this is a bit boring. I'm a bit dull like this. There was a little bit of an awkward bit where the little girl aged up, and then the mum was like, go stick on this bikini because that one's far too revealing for you. And then the one that she puts on is like even more revealing in like the breast department. But I just, you know, that's such a minor gripe with this movie. If you haven't seen it and you think, you know, you like stuff like Cabin Fever and stuff like that and something a bit different, I would highly recommend this movie because it was awesome. Even the ending, like, Like M. Night Shyamalan always has like these twist ending and stuff like that, but this one didn't really have that kind of thing in it. You could tell what the ending was quite early on because a lot of things were introduced. I guess you could say there was a twist like right at the end, but I wouldn't honestly count it as a twist. But yeah, the last one I'm going to talk about is Freaky. This is another one that unfortunately I didn't get a chance to see in cinema. It is by the guy who did Happy Death Day 1 and 2, which I quite enjoy. I think it's kind of, the first one's really, really good. The second one's decent. And I'd say this movie is, again, like another peg down. Like, you have to kind of get through a lot. Like, the first half an hour is this girl is just getting bullied and she hates her life and everybody's awful to her and stuff like that. And it's just so long, right? And you have Vincent Vaughn like killing people in the beginning, but they have no actual point in the plot later on. It's very much like the horror movie trope where like, okay, we will kill these people early on because at least then you got some kills and you don't have to slog through the first bit. But it did feel like a slog. And then kind of you have the Freaky Friday bit where they switch the bodies, and yeah, you expect it kind of plays it off like they've switched straight away, and you're like, okay, well, why is this person acting this way? But then it just doesn't happen that way. It happens a little bit later on, which is fine. It kind of establishes them both getting to their house and stuff like that. So I guess like the killer and the girl both have like their like places they can go to if they need it. Yeah, and there's like a ticking clock, like Happy Death Day, where the protagonist has to kind of figure out how to deal with it. Otherwise, they're trapped forever. I like Vincent Vaughn. He did good in the role. The further that he got into the movie, the more I liked his character. I especially loved when he was having a scene when he was Millie and he was having a scene with her mother, because they're both having a heart-to-heart about the death of their father. And it was just very, very nice and very engaging just to see that kind of development from them both. And then, because, sometimes when you're talking to a stranger, it's a lot easier to talk to than somebody you're actually familiar with. And you can actually lay stuff on them that you necessarily wouldn't lay on other people. I really appreciated seeing that in this movie. I like some of the kills in the movie. I think, the old, like, 90s, 80s throwback where Vincent Vaughn is essentially invincible in, like, the first bit where he's literally walking through walls, throwing people and, like, picking them up. That was quite cool. Because we haven't had a recent serial killer being able to do that. Although when he was in the body, you could tell how, like, fragile and how vulnerable he is, which kind of added to the plot as well. I also liked Vincent Vaughn's kind of trio, because he works with two of the girl's friends and they kind of have to defeat a serial killer in the girl's body. As it goes on, the movie does get a lot better. You do have one of those endings which are typical, like, the cookie cutter endings, and then kind of you have like this extended ending, which is really pointless, to be honest. You really didn't need that in the movie. But yeah, I would say it was an alright watch. I can't tell you if I preferred this or if I preferred Antlers. Overall, I would say that Old was the best one. If you are going to check any of these horror movies out, seriously check that one out, because it's amazing. It looks beautiful. Everything about that movie is perfect. The other two are very generic for what they are, and unfortunately, they have a bit of a slog to get through. But yeah, if you've seen any of these movies and you would rank them differently, please let me know in the comments below. As usual, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.